There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Welcome back to Bandwagon fans. I'm Jeff, and this is it. This is the big one. We're going to be talking about, this is a non-spoiler review for Avengers: Infinity War. So, this is, just got back, just went to a special fan screening, got some goodies, and going to talk. This is a difficult movie to talk about, and it's difficult to talk about for a few reasons. One, this is a non-spoiler review, so I'm not going to get into any plot points, and there's a lot that happened in this movie, but I'm not going to get into any of that. Go see it this weekend. Don't let anybody spoil it for you. Go see it, and then come back and we'll do the full spoiler discussion later. So it's difficult to talk about for that reason, because there's got to sidestep anything that might give things away. And it's also difficult to talk about because I'm still processing what I saw. No, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but there were parts that were kind of, that I don't know how I feel about it yet. I can't say if it was a good movie or a bad movie, or it was a good movie. It was a great movie. But there's certain choices that they made that I don't know how I feel about yet. I'm going to be watching it again I'm going to be watching it again tomorrow night, and we're going to come back to the spoiler discussion. Hopefully by then I'll have some of these feelings resolved. But it was very, very conflicted feelings right now. And lastly, this is a hard movie to talk about because we've never had a movie like this before. There's never been anything on this epic. And before I even talk about Avengers: Infinity War, I'm going to take a step back and kind of put it in its place of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just kind of movies in general. So this is the 19th MCU movie. Most of you watching this probably know that already. And this is, it's the 19th MCU movie, and the MCU is unique in that it's the first franchise that's really truly interconnected, and not just that characters pop up in different movies, the old Universal movies are the Universal horror movies are the first true shared universe. But the story didn't continue from one franchise to another. Whereas in this series, the stories do jump from one to another. And for that reason, you get into Avengers: Infinity War. This is the most Marvel movie of any Marvel movie ever made, and things that you typically look for in a movie that we're going to talk about, like performances, the lead actor, the director, and the character development. None of that stuff really applies to this movie, because this is one chapter in a actually it's going to turn out to be 22, 23 movie story. So this is like, picking out one scene from a soap opera and trying to evaluate that on its own without anything else. And that's kind of difficult to do. Excuse me. Got the little wolf hair from the mask there. So there isn't a lot of frame of reference of how to compare this to other movies. I haven't seen anything like this before, period. So we'll go through some of the things that worked. First of all, the true star of this movie is Paul Feig and Joe and Anthony Russo. This is the culmination of the previous, well, 17 of the previous 18 movies. Really now this is the culmination of 18 previous movies. So, and that really goes to Paul Feig for what he's been able to put together. Paul Feig, of course, being the creative director, the executive producer of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and what he has accomplished is just is so phenomenal. It is so inspiring. And then Joe and Anthony Russo, the directors of Captain America: Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, and now the Avengers: Infinity War and the next year's Avengers 4. Their ability to create a story with so much going on and so many different characters, and this movie, they did not waste any time. It hits the ground running, and that brings me to another larger point about how do you talk about these movies. The Avengers: Infinity War is, if you're watching, this obviously I'm filming this in the United States. I'm an English speaker. This is not a movie filmed in English. This is a movie filmed in the language of Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what that means is if you're going into this movie cold, where you haven't seen any of the previous movies, you are going to be lost. And I'm actually taking, probably early next week, I'm going with a couple of friends who have not seen a single Marvel movie. And then we're going to do a discussion with at least one of them. And I'm predicting they're going to be like, yeah, I didn't get it. Because there are main characters that don't even get named in the movie. This isn't really a spoiler, but people that know War Machine or Colonel Rhodes, his nickname Rhodey. The only time he's mentioned by name, once somebody calls him Colonel, and at some point somebody calls him Rhodey. So anybody coming into this movie without all the history is gonna be like, man, what was the old black dude's name? Was it Colonel Rhodey? If they can even put those two things together. So none of the characters are really introduced. For me, for people that have seen all 18 movies, most of them, all but Iron Man 3, I've seen at least twice. Some of them I've seen 3 or 4 times. That works great for me. I don't want to waste any time. I just get right into it. But again, for that person who maybe saw Black Panther and was like, wow, that was really cool, I want to see what happens next, man, they're going to be lost. Your friends that haven't watched any of these movies, but this one is so big, they just want to come and check out a Marvel movie, this is not the one to start them with. All right, so those are kind of like how this is situated in the bigger picture, where it fits in the Marvel Universe. And so we're in phase 3. And if you just take a step back and look at forget phase 1 and 2, just look at phase 3 of the MCU. You got Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, and now Avengers: Infinity War. That is a run of movies that maybe only Star Wars has really surpassed, and even Star Wars is more hit or miss than these have been. For MCU Phase 3, the worst movie was Doctor Strange, and that would, outside of the MCU, would be a top 10 comic book movie. So again, it's going back to what Paul Feig has created. It's just phenomenal. So let's talk a little bit more about the movie. So you might have heard people say, leading into some of the promotional material, that this is Thanos' movie. And if there's one character in the movie that does steal the show, it is Thanos. He is the big bad to end all big bads. And there's a real logic to why he's doing what he's doing, and it's a perverse logic, but it makes sense. It's not the irrational Heath Ledger's Joker. It's not, evil for evil's sake of Darth Vader. This is, when you hear you might hear somebody say there's no true villains. All villains are heroes in their own mind. Thanos, in his mind, he's on the side of the angels, and it really worked. It made it compelling, and really he carried this movie. Kind of the downside, and I think really why I'm having a hard time processing how I feel about the movie is, this has been 10 years now. Chris Evans' portrayal of Captain America has been actually kind of motivational for me, and kind of an influence for me the last few years. And we kind of get the sense that we're coming to the end of something that I'm not ready to say goodbye to. And this isn't a spoiler about the movie. We all know that contracts are coming up, actors are getting ready to go on to other things. So we start seeing. So in this, we're starting to see, some of these things are going to start wrapping up soon, and I'm not ready to let go. I want to keep watching. I want to watch Chris Evans play Captain America until I die. Mofo, let me go first, then you can go do whatever you want to do. No, it's tough because, and really, so with this many, and this one of the, what might be one chief complaint about this movie is maybe they found the point where it's too much. So all these characters that we know we're going to be saying goodbye to at some point where we're not quite ready to, they kind of get shortchanged, and everybody is integral to the story, which goes to Joe and Anthony Russo's brilliance and how they put this together. But if you're a fan of a particular character and you really wanted to see them shine, probably not going to happen, because they're splitting this up between 20 some different heroes plus the Black Order. Speaking of, the children of Thanos, only one of them actually gets named in the movie. So these guys come in and they're all great. They're badasses. They earn their keep, but we never find out. Again, if you're not familiar with this going in, you're gonna have no clue who they are. But so with all these characters, there were major characters that had a dozen lines in the entire movie, and that was kind of, it's like, man, my last few days with some of these characters, of course there's one more Avengers movie coming out, but I want to soak up everything I can with them, and I can't, because they got to make room for everybody else. And it's kind of the double-edged sword of this kind of a crossover movie, where there's no other, you can't get this big of a movie without that problem. And I'm still working through how I feel about that, and how much of a problem that is. So some of the other things that worked, when this movie wants to be funny, it's really funny. The jokes land, and when it wants to be drop dead serious, it is serious as a heart attack. Again, just masterful storytelling by Joe and Anthony Russo. The world that Paul Feige has put together, and he's found these star directors. They were perfect for this universe, for this run. I'm not gonna do a score yet, because I'm still kind of, I know this is gonna be close. It's gonna be over 4 or 5, maybe close to 5. But I don't know yet. I gotta watch it again and really ruminate on some of the things that happened, and some of the choices they made. I think it's going to have a very similar reaction that some people had to The Last Jedi. There's going to be people that absolutely love it, and I think I'm going to end up in that camp. And then there's going to be people that are going to have some issues. But we'll see. Start seeing. I'm really dying to start watching reviews on this. I don't watch any reviews until I've done mine, and I'm just like, I want to see them. I want to see all of them. So I'm probably not gonna sleep too much tonight. I'll be on YouTube for the rest of the night. So some of the swag I got the super cool Infinity War cup with all the characters, all the logos for all the characters, and I'm looking at it, and I think one of them is actually a red herring. Got the little Avengers coin. I have a military, so I have a whole coin collection, and this is going to end up in it. And then you got the poster. This is the poster, the big cast poster, and out of all these characters, man, there's a buttload of characters in this. How many of them survived the movie? How many of them will be back? Well, this is the non-spoiler review, so we're not going to talk about that. But come back tomorrow night, check out my next video where I do go into spoilers, and we'll talk about everything that happened. And boy, was there a lot of it. So I really did enjoy the movie. I'm just, like I said, there's a couple things that I'm still trying to process. It got pretty heavy. It got pretty heavy when it wanted to be, funny when it was supposed to be. No matter how I end up feeling about it at the end of the day, I will recognize it for a monumental storytelling and cinematic achievement. You can't, nothing, my opinion will take anything away from what Paul Feige, Joe, and Anthony Russo have done with this. And all the performances were top notch. They were all stellar. The CGI was great. Everything was great, other than how I felt about it. And anyways, enough of that. Thanks for watching. Come back and enjoy the spoiler discussion, which will be happening. I'll be posting that late Friday night. And follow me on Twitter at Jeff at the BW Fans, or on Facebook, Bandwagon Fans. And of course, here on YouTube, Bandwagon Fans. Like this video, subscribe. Got a whole bunch of movies coming out this summer, and looking forward to talking about all of them with you. Leave your comments below, and stay tuned for that spoiler discussion. Thanks.